All right, straight up. Finding love as a guy right now is harder than it was for your dad, and probably harder than it was for your older brother. Anyone who tells you it's the same as always is lying to you, and anyone who tells you it's completely hopeless is also lying to you. The truth is somewhere in between, and it's less comfortable than either of those, because the honest version puts the work back on you. There's no villain to blame, and there's no magic fix. There's just the real situation and what you can actually do inside it. So that's what this is. No fluff, no hype, no feel-good garbage, and no doom either. Just what's actually true and what you can actually do about it. Settle in, because I'm going to be real with you the whole way through. Let's start with the thing everyone dances around, the apps. Here's the reality nobody wants to say plainly. Dating apps are brutal for the average guy. And I want to explain why. Because once you understand the machine, you stop taking it personally. Here's how it actually works. On these apps, the attention is not spread out evenly. A small percentage of men get the overwhelming majority of the likes and the matches. Everyone else is down at the bottom fighting over what's left. So if you're a normal dude, average looking, you make a profile, you put up your pictures, and you get almost nothing back. And then you sit there staring at your phone wondering what is wrong with you. And the answer is nothing is wrong with you specifically. The system is built to funnel attention to the very top and leave everyone else feeling invisible. On top of that, these apps make their money by keeping you on them, not by getting you off them into a happy relationship. A guy who finds love stops paying. So the whole thing is designed to keep you swiping, keep you hoping, keep you buying the little premium features, and keep you just barely unsatisfied enough to keep going. You're not the customer on those apps. You're the product, and your loneliness is what they're selling back to you. So here's the first piece of direct advice. Stop basing your entire self-worth on how you do on the apps. That number of matches is not a measure of your value as a man. It's a measure of how you perform in one specific, rigged, photo-based environment that happens to be the worst possible arena for the average guy. And honestly, for most of you, stop relying on them as your main strategy at all. If you're an average guy, the apps might be the single worst place you could be spending your energy, because it's the one place you're at the biggest disadvantage. You're playing the game on the hardest difficulty setting and then concluding you're just bad at the game. You're not. You picked the wrong arena. Nobody told you there were other arenas. So let me tell you about the one where you actually have a shot. Because here's what's true, and it's good news. In person, average guys do dramatically better than they do on apps. Think about why. On an app, you are a photo. You get judged and swiped past in half a second based on one dimension, how you look in a picture. That's it. That's the whole audition. But in real life, you are a full human being. You've got a voice. You've got presence. You've got humor, timing, the way you carry yourself, the way you make someone feel when you talk to them. All of that stuff, the stuff that actually makes a person attractive over time, is completely invisible in a photo, but completely alive in person. So a guy who is dead on arrival on the apps can be a totally different story face to face. If the digital world is telling you you're invisible, the answer is not better photos. The answer is to get out of the arena that only measures photos and into the one where the rest of you actually counts. So where do you actually meet people in person? Since nobody seems to know anymore. Let me be practical, because this is where guys get stuck. The key to meeting people in real life is repeated exposure. Being around the same people over and over in a low pressure setting. That's how humans have always formed connections. So the move is to get yourself into situations where you naturally see the same people regularly. Join something. A gym class, a hobby group, a rec sports league, a class, a club, a volunteer thing, whatever. Anything where you show up repeatedly and the same faces are there. Become a regular somewhere. Because when you see someone a bunch of times in a shared setting, all the pressure of the cold approach disappears. You're not a random stranger hitting on them. You're the guy from the thing who they already recognize, who they're comfortable with. That familiarity does have to work for you. And the bonus is, even if you don't meet a partner there directly, you meet people and people know other people, and a huge number of relationships come through friends of friends. Building a social life is the long game that keeps paying off. The guy with a big active social circle is never far from meeting someone because he's plugged into a web of humans. The guy sitting home alone on the apps has cut himself off from the exact thing that actually works. Okay, next hard truth. And this one guys really don't want to hear. So I'm just going to say it. There's stuff about dating that isn't in your control. And there's stuff that is, and you need to be brutally honest with yourself about which is which, because most guys fixate on exactly the wrong one and it ruins them. The stuff you can't control, your height, your bone structure, your face, for the most part. And I'm not going to insult you by pretending those things don't matter, because they do, especially in that first impression photo-based world we just talked about. But here's the part that matters. You cannot change any of it. It is fixed. So every single hour you spend online reading about how you're doomed because of your height or your jawline is an hour you set on fire for nothing. It doesn't improve your life by 1 inch. It doesn't get you closer to anyone. All it does is make you feel hopeless and bitter. And there's an entire industry online built to keep you locked in that exact loop because your misery is profitable to them. Obsessing over what you can't change is the single biggest waste of time and energy in your whole dating life. Full stop. Now here's the part they don't want you to sit with. The stuff you can control is a massive list, and most of it moves the needle more than the fixed stuff anyway. Your body. You can build a strong, lean physique. That is 100% in your control. It takes time and effort, but anyone can do it, and it changes how you look more than almost anything short of surgery. Your grooming, your haircut, your facial hair, your skin, your teeth, all improvable, all in your hands. Your style, how you dress, the way you present yourself, that's a skill you can learn in a month if you actually try. Your fitness, your posture, the way you carry yourself, all trainable. Your money and your trajectory in life, the sense that you're going somewhere, that you have ambition and direction, you can build that. Your social skills, your ability to hold a conversation, to be funny, to make a person feel comfortable and seen, that is a learnable skill, not a gift you're either born with or not. And your emotional stability, your ability to not be a needy, anxious, clingy mess, that's something you develop. Look at that list. That is an enormous amount of stuff, and every single item on it is in your hands, and together they matter more than the couple of things you can't change. So here's the direct version. Max all of that out. Become the absolute best version of what you can actually control and stop crying about the small handful of things you can't. That right there separates you from 90% of guys, because 90% of guys do the exact opposite. They ignore everything they could fix and obsess over the two things they can't. Be the guy who does it the other way around. Next, the initiating thing. Here's reality, and it does not care one bit whether you think it's fair. As a man, making the first move is mostly still on you. Approaching someone, starting the conversation, asking her out, making your interest clear, moving things forward, that's on you most of the time. And you can sit around thinking that's unfair, and maybe you even have a point, but here's the thing that matters. It changes nothing. Complaining about the fact that you have to initiate has never once resulted in someone else doing it for you. The men who accept that initiating is simply their job and who get good at it, they do fine. The men who sit around waiting to be approached, waiting for it to be easy, waiting for the universe to hand them someone so they never have to risk the discomfort, they wait forever. That's just the truth. If you want this, you have to be the one who acts. Nobody is coming to save you from having to try. But let me get practical about how to initiate, because this is where guys either freeze or get creepy, and neither works. Here's the whole secret, and it's not complicated. Be direct, be warm, and be completely okay with a no. That's it. Confident interest is attractive. You go up, you're friendly, you show genuine interest, you make it clear in a relaxed way that you'd like to talk to her or see her again. What makes it creepy is not the approach itself, it's pressure. It's not taking a hint. It's making it weird when she's not interested. So the move is to show your interest clearly and cleanly, and then read the response like an adult. If she's into it, great, keep going. If she's clearly not, you smile, you say no worries, and you walk away with your dignity fully intact. That's the whole thing. Women are not put off by a confident, respectful guy showing interest. They're put off by desperation, by pressure, by a guy who can't handle a no. So show the interest and hold the outcome loosely. Interested and unbothered by rejection is the exact combination that works. And that leads straight into the part that stops most guys dead in their tracks. Rejection. Here's the truth nobody frames correctly. Rejection is the price of admission. It is the tax you pay to play this game, and you do not get to skip it. Nobody does. And here's the math that most guys never emotionally accept. Any single attempt is probably going to fail. That's not because you're a loser. That's just the base rate for any one shot for everyone, including good-looking, successful guys. Most people you're interested in are not going to be interested back for 100 reasons that usually have nothing to do with you. They're seeing someone. They're not in that headspace. There's just no spark on their end. It's not a referendum on your worth. It's just a no. And there are a lot of them out there for everyone. So watch what actually happens to the average guy. He works up the courage, he tries 2 or 3 times, he gets rejected, and he concludes the entire thing is hopeless and quits. And that right there is the real reason he's alone. Not his face, not his height. He took 3 shots, missed all 3, and stopped shooting for good. Meanwhile, the guys who actually succeed are not the ones who never get rejected. They are the ones who get rejected constantly and keep going anyway because they understand deep down that it's a numbers game and no single no means anything at all. They know they need volume. They know most attempts miss. So they take a lot of attempts and they let the misses roll off because it's not personal. It's just math playing out. If that sounds exhausting, yeah, it is. That's precisely why most guys won't do it, which is also precisely why doing it puts you miles ahead of most guys. The willingness to be rejected over and over without letting it break you is close to a superpower because it's so rare. And here's a mental shift that makes the whole rejection thing survivable. Stop putting any single person up on a pedestal before you even know them. When you decide that one girl you barely know is your whole world, your one shot, the only one who could ever make you happy, you crush yourself under the weight of that one interaction, and the desperation leaks out of you and repels her. And if she says no, it destroys you. But when you understand that there are a lot of people out there you could connect with, that no single person is your last chance, you can approach any one interaction relaxed because it genuinely isn't life or death. That relaxed energy is attractive and it protects you from being wrecked by any single no. This is not about seeing people as disposable. It's about not being so scarcity brained that you strangle every interaction before it can breathe. Now, here's the one that actually matters most. The thing the whole grind comes down to, the single best thing you can do to find love is to build a life that's genuinely good on its own, with or without a partner in it. And I mean this practically as a strategy, not as some soft inspirational line. Get in shape. Build real friendships. Get a hobby you're actually into. Get direction, a mission, something you're working toward and excited about. Build a life that is full and satisfying by itself. And here's why that works on 2 separate levels, because it's doing double duty. Level 1, a guy who is fit, who has friends, who's going somewhere, who has interests and a real life is simply more attractive. That's obvious. People are drawn to people who have their act together and who bring something to the table. But level 2, and this is the part almost everyone misses, having a full life means you are not desperate. And desperation is the single biggest thing that repels people. And here's the brutal part. It cannot be hidden. When your entire happiness is riding on getting a partner, when you have nothing else going on and you need this to feel okay about yourself, people feel it instantly. It's in how you text. It's in how hard you're trying. It's in the way you cling to any scrap of attention. It radiates off you and it pushes people away every single time. But when you already have a good life, you're not needy. You're not clinging. You actually don't need it. And here's the irony that runs the whole thing. That's exactly when it shows up. The man who doesn't need it is the man who gets it. That's not a manipulation tactic. It's just how human attraction works. Neediness repels, fullness attracts, and you can't fake either one. So you have to actually build the full life. There's no shortcut around it, which is good because it means the work you do pays off in your actual life, whether or not you find someone. And let me say a real thing about what people in this generation actually respond to. Cutting through all the noise and all the tricks people try to sell you. It's not lines, it's not games, it's not some secret technique. People are drawn to a man who is stable, who is going somewhere, who can hold a real conversation, who can make them laugh, who is comfortable in his own skin, and who makes them feel safe and at ease. That's it. That's the whole thing. It sounds boring because it's true, and the truth is usually less exciting than whatever someone is trying to sell you. And what repels people is the opposite of all that. Neediness, insecurity that leaks out as either clinginess or arrogance, trying way too hard, being fake, having no life and no direction. So the path is not to learn tricks. The path is to actually become that stable, interesting, comfortable, going somewhere guy. Become him for real, and you don't need any lines because the whole package speaks for itself. Now, I have to say the hard thing, and it's the most important warning in this entire video. So if you take nothing else, take this. There's a whole corner of the internet right now that is built specifically to poison guys exactly like you. It tells you it's all hopeless. It's completely rigged, that women are the enemy, that you never had a chance, that none of it is your fault, that you should just give up and be angry about it. And the reason it's so dangerous is that it feels true because it names a real pain that you're actually feeling. That's the hook. It takes your legitimate frustration, the real difficulty we've been talking about this whole time, and it twists it into resentment and hands it back to you dressed up as hard truth and secret knowledge. And here's what it actually does to you. It makes you bitter. and bitter is poison. A bitter, resentful, angry at women guy repels people harder than any physical flaw ever possibly could. You can be the best looking guy in the room, but if that resentment is sitting behind your eyes, people feel it and they stay away. So that content isn't helping you cope with being alone. It is actively keeping you alone and making you miserable and angry the entire time it does it. Look at the guys who are deepest in that world. They are the most bitter and the most alone, and that is not a coincidence. That is cause and effect. The resentment is not a response to being alone, it's a cause of staying alone. So I'm telling you, as directly as I can, stay out of it. It is a dead end that is very good at feeling like an answer. It offers you someone to blame instead of something to do, and blame feels better than work in the short term and ruins you in the long term. And one more real thing before I wrap this up, be patient and don't let loneliness push you into either of the two failure modes. The first failure mode is settling, grabbing onto the first person who gives you attention just because you're lonely even when it's wrong. Because being with anyone feels better than being alone. Don't do that. The second failure mode is giving up entirely, deciding it's never going to happen and checking out. Don't do that either. The honest path is in the middle, and it requires patience. You do the work, you become someone worth being with, you put yourself out there consistently, you take your shots, you handle the rejection, and you trust that it takes as long as it takes. It's not on your schedule, but the guys who do the work and stay patient get there. The ones who panic and settle, or panic and quit, don't. So here's the whole thing. Direct. No soft wrap up. It's harder than it used to be. That's real. Own it. The apps are rigged against the average guy, so stop letting them define you and get in front of real people through repeated low pressure exposure. Stop obsessing over what you can't change and max out the huge list of things you can. Accept that initiating and getting rejected is simply your job. Do it with confidence and zero pressure, and understand it's a numbers game, so you take a lot of shots and let the misses go. Build a life so good you don't even need a partner, because that exact thing is what makes you attractive and non-desperate at the same time. Become a stable, interesting, going somewhere man for real instead of hunting for tricks. Stay the hell away from the resentment pipeline that wants to make you bitter and alone forever. And be patient without settling and without quitting. None of that is a hack. None of it is easy or fast. It's just true. And the guys who actually do it, who put in the boring, unglamorous, unsexy work of becoming someone genuinely worth being with, instead of looking for a shortcut or someone to blame, they find it. Not because they got lucky, because they stopped waiting, stopped whining, stopped blaming, and did the work. That's the real answer. It's the only real answer there's ever been. So do the work. That's it.